All right. First notes on technique. Okay. Do I ever play my guitar like lying on my bed, staring into space? Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful. But if I am practicing my guitar, if I am actually trying to learn something or perform, actually play my best, I'm not lying down. In fact, it's probably the best posture I ever use. Because I do tend to play classical style and finger style, I got one of these. I've got a little stand, a foot stand, that I've got on the ground. It just props up my left leg. Because, let's see, I'm going to do a little awkward. Because when I prop up my leg like this, I can set it between. It projects my neck sort of upward like this, and I can get in a very relaxed position. Now, you might see people holding it over here. That's cool. That's fine. That tends to be what, sort of rock players tend to do. But I'll tell you what, I promise, sit in this position for 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. Maybe you fall into the guitar hole. We'll talk about the guitar hole some other time, maybe. Maybe you really, really, really get to playing, and I promise your shoulder will hurt, your right shoulder. Because if you pay attention to what's happening when you play like this, you're stretching your arm back from where it tends to sit naturally. Your guitar, your body wants to sort of have your arms, slightly in front of your torso. So when you go like this, you're using stuff back here, anatomy, muscles, tendons, and it starts to hurt. So again, you don't have to get a foot stand, but I would try to sit on a decent straight back chair. Cushy couches, yeah, go ahead. But again, if you're practicing, I'm not sitting there. I just have a little straight back chair, put my foot on a stand, I set it between my two legs with this bout right here. Remember, I call that a bout, not an important term. Sitting right on my leg, all right, and my arms are really relaxed. You should check in with your body every now and again. This thing's cutting off the top of my head. You should check in with your body every now and again, meaning, like, if you've been playing for 20, 30 minutes and your wrist hurts, you're doing something wrong. If your shoulder starts to hurt the way I said, you're doing something wrong. If your back starts to hurt, which does happen to me, you need to take a break and readjust your posture. That's what happens to me. It's like lower, right, back. If I'm playing for an hour, 2 hours, which is really the maximum I probably ever play in a sitting. If I'm practicing, that is. My lower right back starts getting to me, so I'm probably doing something wrong. But I can't find that magical tweak of my posture. So that's how I sit. That's how I sit with my instrument. Wrap your arms around it. Love it. Nurture it. All right, we are moving on. And at this point, I am going to ask you to get your paper and pencil and a straight edge. And we're going to take our first look at actual music. There's some basics that you really have to understand. You know what? There are a lot of guitarists. There are a lot of good guitarists. Really good guitarists. Guitarists that can do stuff I can't do and really, really entertain, who probably wouldn't be able to do what you're going to be able to do after this next segment, which is basically just describe the absolute basics of our music system, the system that we use. All right, that's it. This segment's over. What'd I come in at? 4 minutes. That's what I was hoping for. All right. I will really not blabber this time because I'm going to get right into this. So, I am going to ask you to do some writing. I'm going to ask you to do some drawing. I'm going to ask you to manipulate one of these dandy things. You are about to learn about the 12-tone system, and I'm going to show you a few things using a diagram, which I'll teach you how to draw. It's wildly simple. Particularly if you do have a ruler with you. You can do it freehand, I suppose. Anyway, so what I want you guys to understand is that really, like I said earlier in the video, basically everything you've ever heard is 12 notes. And you say, what? That possibly can't possibly be, but it's true. If you've taken any band lessons or instruments or piano lessons of any sort and looked at notation, this isn't news to you. There are 12 tones, all right? And those 12 tones, when they're played one after the other, it's called the chromatic scale. and you will excuse chromatic. You will excuse my any handwriting issues. I'm often feeling embarrassed about my handwriting. Oh gosh, I'm feeling self-conscious now. I need to make it pretty. No, I don't. No, I don't. I need to tell you about the 12 tones. Here we go. Ready? Let's start at the very beginning. A. Not surprisingly. A. And then you're going to write a little bit smaller, maybe A sharp / B flat. Okay? This symbol means sharp. That symbol means flat. It's like a lowercase b. This, of course, is the hashtag symbol. A, so this is 1, this is 2. Am I going to fit them all? I'd better. Next comes B. Then go to C. Notice, there is no B sharp. There is no C flat right here. Okay? Oh, these, by the way, are the same note. Okay? A sharp and B flat mean the same thing. You just use different names in different musical contexts, depending on what key you're playing in, really. All right? But there's no such thing as a B sharp. There's no note here. There's such thing as a C flat. This is where on the piano you would see two white keys directly next to each other. And there's one other place coming up. That's E and F. All right? That's why Homer Simpson's barbershop quartet was called the B sharps. It was a musical pun. Dad joke. I dig dad jokes. I'm really good at dad jokes. I like to think. Master of the craft. After C comes C sharp, which the smarter kids in the audience are saying, oh, that must be D flat. Yeah, these are the same thing. Just like A sharp and B flat are the same thing, C sharp and D flat are the same thing. All right? And now I'm going to bang out the rest and try to keep my big yap shut. It looks like this. And I suspect you might need to catch up, so please, if you would, pause and write that down for me if you're one of my students in particular. I expect to see this next time we get together. All right. So, 12 tones. A sharp, also known as B flat. B, C sharp, also known as D flat. D sharp. E, F sharp. That's got another name, G flat. G sharp, A flat, and you're saying, wait a minute, what happens? Where did it go, this wonderful trail of notes? Well, look, this is A flat, right? Well, guess where it goes? It goes back to A, except it's in a new octave. In other words, after this would be another A, a higher version of the A, what's called an octave. And then you'd have A sharp and B flat again after that. So the pattern just starts over, okay? And that's it. These are all the notes. Now, when I said there were 12 notes, it's a little deceptive because I can play a super, super, super low A, like, or I can play a really high A, like that, you know? So they repeat over and over and over again. So I guess technically there's like kind of an infinite number of notes, an infinite number of frequencies that we use these names to talk about. But eventually they get so low we can't hear them. Eventually they get so high, only the dogs, the rabbits, and the naked mole rats can hear them. So this is it, all right? So what is this, how does this look on a guitar? Okay, well, here comes a diagram that, you know, not particularly challenging, but I hope you'll take the time to do it properly. You are going to draw the neck of a guitar. Yay! You're going to make a little one like that, and if you want, you could do that. This is the headstock up here, okay? You'll see what I mean in a minute. And then you are going to, oh so carefully, lay out 1, 2, 3, 4. This is likely to be a little uneven, but it'll do for our purposes. Check this out. 6 strings. 1, 2. All right. This is around the time. Once you realize what I'm doing, you can pause. Take the time to draw these. I'm taking a little bit more time. I would usually probably freehand these, and sometimes they're real messy, but 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a diagram you can use for all sorts of things. You can you can do chord diagrams, you can map out scales, fingerings for different scales and different, licks or passages. So now I'm drawing in those fret lines. The guitar is referred to as fret wire. That's the actual material. And I'm not going to go too high. I'm just going to go as high as, the 5th. All right. So what we've got here is the neck of a guitar. In fact, can I do this? Yeah, sure I can do this. I can do anything. Look, it's just like this, right? See? Oh, it's so pretty. Oh. So this one right here, this vertical line refers to this string. This vertical line refers to this string. Third one, third. See? It's the same thing, just a picture. Okay, cool. So you've drawn your guitar neck, and now you need to do some writing. So I'm going to write some notes up here above the nut. Remember, this part's called the nut. I'm going to write some notes above this, and these are the notes of the open strings. Okay, so this is when you just pluck a string and don't hold down a fret to raise that note. The open strings on a guitar are E, A, D, G, B, E. This is referred to as standard tuning. And, if you're new, you're probably going to be in standard tuning, or hopefully close to it, for the next few weeks. There are many different ways to tune your guitar. I use lots of open tunings, but that is definitely down the road. So every adult donkey gets big ears. Every adult donkey gets big ears. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. E-A-D-G-B-E. Okay, going from low, the lowest, thickest string, raw, to the highest, E. All right, E-A-D. Yeah, I wrote Every Adult Donkey Gets Big Ears. It's sort of my contribution to music education. I'm pretty proud of that one. All right, so here we are. We've got our 12-tone system up here. We've got our neck diagram here. We have identified the notes produced when you pluck these open strings. And keep in mind, these two E's, that's not the exact same note, right? This is an octave. It's actually 2 octaves higher. All right? That might sound like a foreign language to you, but it'll make sense soon. These are not the same E. All right. So what happens if I were to put my finger, and I think I would use my index finger, on the first fret of the E string? Well, I started on an E, right? This is the E string right here. This is the E string. And then I went up one. Boop. First fret on the E string makes an F note. Simple? I think so. But I've also been doing this for a long time. So here's the A string, the second string down. The second string is actually the B string, but the second string, the second fattest string, the second lowest tone you can produce with an open string. This is the lowest note in standard tuning. And then you have A here, right? So what if I put my middle finger on the second fret here? Okay, what would that give me? Well, I started on an A, right? And then I went up 2 frets. Well, I went up boom, boom. That's B. Okay, so this note right here is B. What if I held down the 3rd fret on the G string? What would that do? Okay, well, I start on the G. Oh, this one's, I hope, doesn't throw anyone. Here's the open G string. That's just if I plucked this without holding anything down. But I've gone up 1, 2, 3 frets. 1, 2, 3. Right? I'll do that again with the Johnny 5 sound. This is an open G string right here. All right? But if I went up 1, 2, 3 frets, it would be 1, 2, 3 right there. So this note right here has always been and always will be known as an A sharp or a B flat. Okay? And if I wanted, I could do the whole stinking thing. This would be an F sharp, also known as a G flat, but I'm not going to do that because it's going to get really ugly really quick. This one here would be a D natural. Oh, natural. Let's talk about that really quick. And go ahead and once you've caught up, you might need to pause. Come over here and just draw these symbols. All right. This is sharp. If you put this after a letter, a note name, well, you've now made it sharp. In other words, A, one step up from A is A sharp. What's that called? A half step. One. If you go from here to here, A to here, well, you've just raised it up to A sharp, also known as B flat. And hope the writing is fairly clear. I'll get better at all this stuff. I'll be a regular Salman Khan, like Khan Academy with his fancy digital board before too long. Maybe not. I don't know. Here we go. This one's called flat. Okay. And there's a flat right there. Okay, this is a G flat. Second fret on the E string is a G flat, but this symbol means flat. And a moment ago I used a term that I don't think I'd used yet, which is natural. Okay, that's this symbol. And that stands for natural. All right. And a natural note is, there's D, that's D natural. But I just don't even bother writing in the little symbol. The symbol comes in handy if you're trying to tell a player to switch from a D sharp to a D flat. You sometimes need to indicate that. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But a natural note is a note like B or D or G or A. It doesn't have it's not sharp or flat. It's natural. These are the white keys on a piano. These are the black keys on a piano. Okay. With that out of the way, I think we are probably ready to move on to our next bit, which is our first chords. All right. So make sure you've got all this written down. All right. Make it neat. Make it tidy. It pays to take your time with these notes. I'm the type that believes, if you write something down, you've really got it forever. Well, I really actually don't believe that. But I learn a heck of a lot better when I write things down and take my time to really, make it neat and tidy. All right, we are moving on. We're going to look at chords, and we're going to go back into Doug mode or whatever. You're going to be able to see me and my guitar.